this week from Australia. My little band of Australian haters were posting. It's quite funny, really, because they blocked me on Facebook, but yet they still choose to log in and see my videos and comment on how bad they are, and then go and post in to their little group they have, commenting on how much they hate me even more. And what these people fail to realize is actually they just spur me on to do more, do even better, work even harder than I am. And they're just a funny little bunch. Anyway, moving on. My trip to Ireland went over last Saturday morning to cover the World Atlantic One-Off Race of the Hunt families. Really good. Blown away by the setup. There's about 300 people there. It was a really good day. The weather was not bad at all at the loft location, and people had a really good day. The returns were not as good as people would have hoped. Ultimately, there was only 33 birds back on the day, and I think there's just over 70 birds back now. But ultimately, the first bird that came in, she was 5 hours, I think she was 5 hours 20 on the wing. She came in 17 minutes before the first bird. And it's something I'm going to be talking about more next week. It's on my topics to talk about more next week. But if anything, it strengthens my theory that one-off racing is one of the parts of the future of this sport. I know some people disagree with it, or me, but based on everything that happened last week and that race, it brings people together. You had people that were not even keeping pigeons that had come to that race, blown away by the amount of people that tuned in. Just as the first bird dropped, we had like 770 people watching, which just blew me away. All through, if you were watching it all through, I was thinking, you know, can we get 300? Because that was the most I've ever got. 400, 500. We were the most consistent long term. We had 650 people watching, and it topped out at 770 people. Just blows me away, that amount of people. We've had over 36,000 people watch that video so far. And what's even more impressive only happened today as well. We had a guy in Ireland that just keeps a few white dove-type birds, and he watched that, and as a result of that, he is hooked on pigeon racing now, fascinated by it, wants to learn more about it, and ultimately wants to start keeping them. Now that's the power of this stuff. What I'm doing by highlighting these races and doing these lives, that is powerful. The fact that we've already got someone that said he was hooked by it, and as a result of seeing me cover the one-off race, he is hooked and he wants to start. We've had wives and girlfriends, we've had kids watching. I was even at one point having to say hello, which I don't mind at all, to kids watching it. We had people watching in pigeon shops. We had 8 people watching in Sheldon's store. Now we had people watching from all over the world: Philippines, Thailand, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, America, all over Europe. That is what really buzzes me about what I'm doing. And that we covered that race, in addition to the 300 odd people that were there, we covered that race, and so far over 36,000 people have seen that race. And in addition, it brought people together. Like I said, we had wives and girlfriends watching it. We had people watching it on their TV. We had people, groups of people in their houses watching that on TV. And that blows my mind. And that is the power of what we've got here. Using the technology we've got now, we can do this stuff. We can bring this and highlight what this sport is all around. And that's why I think one-off races are so good for the mainstream. I.e., when I say mainstream, I mean people that don't necessarily race birds and initially haven't really got any great interest in racing birds, but ultimately seeing something like that, seeing the anticipation and the excitement and seeing that first bird drop, that is what the sport needs. And can you imagine in however many years time, long term, that being on actual TV? You know, that's the kind of level of where I want to get this to. Obviously, everybody with a mobile phone and a Facebook account or a YouTube account can be their own TV program. And that's great. But if you expand that up and get more mainstream coverage on it, that's what it's all about, you know? The fact that a week in, 140 home, that's great, Stephen. That's really good. That's a lot better than it was. The fact that we've got wives and girlfriends watching this coverage, we've got kids watching it that maybe not necessarily take too much of an interest in pigeons. And the fact that we've got non-flyers that have never kept racing pigeons before now looking to keep racing pigeons as a result of that blows my mind. And it blows my mind that 36,000 people have watched it. I like I said on the broadcast, I'm just about 5 months into this game now. And if you'd have told me 5 months ago, yeah, you will be in Ireland featuring the premier one, well, the only one-off race in Ireland, and you will be doing a live broadcast and 36,000 people have watched it and 600 people would have shared it and 1,400 people would have commented on it, and you will be getting people interested in the sport that have never been interested in it before. That blows my mind. It blows my mind. And that's 5 months in. So imagine this time next year where this can be and the momentum that we can get. And like I said earlier, what these haters and little trolls fail to realize is every time I see one of them, I don't see it because I'm blocked and other people send it to me. But what they genuinely fail to realize is that actually these guys just spur me on even more to do bigger and better things and keep working as hard as I am. So yeah, blown away by it. I'm going to be doing Gary Tomlinson's Who Dares Wins final on the 25th of August. I'm going to be covering that just as I did for Sean Hunt's race. That's the 25th of August. I'm going to be going up there about 10:30. I'll probably be going live from about 11:30, maybe ish. I'll let you know more. All being well, cross fingers, if everything goes to plan, birds will be coming in early afternoon. They're coming in from France, so it's a bit of a different ball game. I'm going to be covering that exactly the same. I'll let you know more about it. Gary's got a good race up there. It's not far from me, actually. It's about an hour away. I'm going to be doing the same. And my goal is to get as many people interested in watching that as possible. Gary's been running that race now. This is year 6, I believe. It's either year 5 or 6. And he's been running it. The dedication, it's only him and his son that runs it. The dedication to it is there like I've never seen before. And next year, he's actually looking to double his numbers. The same as the Wild Atlantic way that Sean's doing. He's looking to get up to 2,000 birds next year, and I'm sure he'll smash it. He had 1,200 this year. I'm sure he'll smash it because just how well it all went. Gary's looking to get up to 1,200 next year, and I'll be covering that as well. I'm also going to be putting together a compilation of the different videos and info and photos that I'll be putting together a big blog post on Racing Pigeon International about the Wild Atlantic race. And also, all being well, if I hit the deadline, I'll be doing a write-up in the British Home and World and Racing Pigeon and Canadian magazine about it as well. But yeah, the next one is Gary's one, which is, what is that? It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks on Sunday. So I'm going to be doing that. And Noel, you were watching it at a wedding. Well, I suppose that's a bit of an alternative to watching football at a wedding. I'm glad you tuned in, mate. So yeah, it's Thank you, Derek. I much appreciated, mate. Much appreciated. Adrian, salut. So yeah, but that's, you know, that's my vision for this. This is just the beginning. Like, I have people congratulating me for what I'm doing, and I'm not wanting to get a big head about it, and I'm getting a lot of compliments about what I'm doing. But this genuinely is just the beginning. This is me just getting started. This time next year, year after, things are going to be, I've got a lot of plans to really up the level. Like I said right at the beginning, it's about revolutionizing this sport. It's about bringing it up with the technology that's out there and getting it out there. And trust me, if we keep working on this, plus the other plans I've got, the other things we're doing, one day we can get this mainstream. May not be like BBC One or ITV One, but trust me, we can get this up there into the mainstream. We can harness the power of newspapers, online media, online news, all of that stuff. We can do that. That's ultimately the plan, you know? Like, it happened with greyhound racing. It obviously has happened with horses, and there's absolutely no reason long term why it can't happen with racing pigeons. And that's why I think One Loft Racing is the ideal thing for this. And then if you start bringing tracking of birds in for One Loft races and all these other things that you can do, then you've got, you know, essentially what happened. You've got me talking, filling a hell of a lot, talking drivel some of the time just to keep it going until birds arrive. Talking to other people, going amongst the crowd. Eddie Barry did a great job. He got some great coverage as well. But really, until that first bird drop, what have you got? You've got me showing you around the loft, showing the crowd, interacting with people online. And it was the video was, I don't know how long it was, but it was a good few hours long. And imagine that, but upscaled and done in a different way, slightly better way, and over a period of time progressing. Imagine that then to go to the mainstream. Imagine then that people that don't keep a bird, or maybe do keep a bird, can actually place a bet on that race online. This is the kind of vision long term that I've got. So like I said, without sounding big-headed, what you've seen at the moment is just scratching the surface of the plans. Bring in then the sales and auction stuff I want to be doing on Racing Pigeon International. Again, part of the plan. Eventually the magazine, the worldwide magazine, translated into 10 languages, plus a bunch of other bits as part of it, and the stud I want to set up and stuff. And again, the stud and the sales and auction stuff, yes, that could be argued that it's my commercial concern, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this stuff for no financial gain. Obviously, I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm building up my profile. I've got a lot of people now that you know me, and that's all great. But actually, combined in with the other stuff I'm talking about, there's a way of shaking up the game with the sales and auctions. Betting online for this sport has got a massive potential, hands down. It's just got to be figured how to do it. So that, plus some other bits, and again, revolutionizing how videos are done for flyers that want to read videos. Who owns a DVD player? Let's get them all online. You know, when I did the Brian May interview last month, a lot of people would have put that on a DVD and charged for it. If we do a DVD, we'll do a DVD to cover the cost of postage and packing. But the main video, if we do that, and hopefully we get to work with Nigel Llewellyn on an iSign video, that'll all be online for people to see for free. Because you've got to be selective how you make money out of this. And how you make money out of this is by charging commission on pigeons and as part of the sales and auction site. But again, at the same time, on Racing Pigeon Network, people can go and list their birds completely for free in our classified section. So it's a long plan, long-term plan, and generally it's going well. I say I'm blown away by how well it's going. But yeah, Ireland was great. Knackering time. I got back here Wednesday morning, and then I got hit with some stupid stomach bug, which put me out of it yesterday. And then my beloved laptop here, my girl that works harder than anybody for me, she's got problems this morning, and oh, she's responding a little bit. So I've had a few problems whilst trying to catch up. That's the problem when you go away. It's all great, but I have to play catch up. So anyway, yeah. So that was Ireland. Let's just check some comments before I move on. Andy Murray, how you doing, mate? Sprinters Van Bell. Yeah, Andrew Walton. Anybody is welcome to go to Gary's for the final race, mate. I mean, I have a single bird entry, and she's missing at the moment, and I'm still going. But obviously, no, seriously, Andrew, anybody can go to Gary's for the final day. More and merrier. Anybody's welcome. Anybody at all. I love Guinness, Andrew. I'm a fan of Guinness anyway, but it definitely does taste different in Ireland. Definitely. Evening, Leslie. I hope you're well. Oh, Gary's already answered the question. Sorry, I didn't see that. I'm just catching up with comments. Yeah, as Gary said, anybody's welcome to the Who Dares Win. So again, I want to really get the same amount of coverage out there for Gary. He's near Belper, Matlock, mate. John Gent, agree with gambling for one-off racing, and I'm already on it. I looked into online gambling before it even was a thing back in 1997, so I'm quite aware of all the licensing and stuff. Yeah, John, we still need to have a call, mate, and a meet-up at some point. And like you were saying on a post I saw a couple of days ago, I truly believe one-off racing is the future to help get this sport where it needs to be. And I think there's some other things that we can do down the line to be able to help it be a more inclusive thing for everybody. More to follow on that in future weeks to come. All day hot buffet, 3 more roast, eat as much as you like for 15 quid. Can't say better than that, can you? That's Gary's race right there. Robert Mallinson, I hope you're well, mate. The bug. Well, no, it wasn't bad. I think it's actually something I ate when I got back anyway. But no, it wasn't. I actually only had 5 pints of Guinness during my whole time because I was so bloody busy. I didn't even get to drink a Guinness before after the second day. The first Guinness I had was actually at the prize presentation night, which I was running late to anyway. And somebody bought me one. That was the first one I had. And blown away by people's generosity. I had people that I've never met before coming up to me, offering to buy me a drink at that presentation night. Really good, really good. Oh, Joe. So Joe Freely is the guy I was telling you about that was hooked by the race coverage, and he's from the west of Ireland. And everybody's here to support you, Joe. Anything you need. There's far more experts in racing pigeons than I'll ever be watching this, and that is on in our community that will be able to help you. I will help you in any way I can, but there's far more. You did, Stephen. There you go. You bought it, mate. Thank you. So yeah, and my son came over with me, Alexander. We call him Zandy. I can't stop him shutting up now. He is properly hooked. He was hooked before, and then he got hooked a little bit more after seeing one of the hotspot races at Gary's race. And then he went over and he went and seen Sean hunt stock birds, and he held some of the best birds there. And Sean's offered to help him out with some birds, Sean and his dad Sean have. And then we went down to Sheldon, and he's the same, and he held some of the birds there. He's proper hooked. I can't stop him talking about it, which is great. And he's got big plans, and he's a little bit like his dad. He's quite ambitious. He's got some bloody expensive taste when he says, I like that bird. I'm sure you do. It's like 10 grand. It's not happening. But it's really good. Is that he's going to? So he's got the plan is. So my really quickly outside of general stuff, my plan has always been to personally set a stud up and compete in the one-off races, which I know is hard, but that's what I want to do. Essentially what Carl Donnelly's got with the Jackpot Lofts, he's got together an amazing stud of birds, and he's competing in one-off races, and he's winning. He's either winning hotspots and stuff himself. I think he got $2 million a couple of years ago, but like this year he bred some birds that have done really well in the prizes, and that's what I want to do personally. So I want to set the stud up and do that. That's kind of always been my goal, simply because, to be honest, I haven't got the time to race myself. With this and my other crypto business, now I'm called Crypto Market or whatever people are calling it. With this and my other business, I haven't got the time to race. So my goal is set the stud up, and ultimately with the brokering and the sales and auctions I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to keep meeting more and more people and hopefully have access to some of the best birds around to be able to put into that stud and compete in the one-off races. Long term, I still would like to, over a good few years, obviously, set up a long distance team. Long distance for me has always been my fascination and interest and passion, and that's what long term I would do. But realistically, for a good few years, I want to set the stud up, which will be a commercial stud. It will be a commercial enterprise, but those birds are going to be geared towards one-off races and enter as many one-off races as possible long term and build it. As I say, what Carl Donnelly's got in Ireland, which I've been to is obviously twice, and I know Carl now. What he's got is he's living my dream. That's what I want to do over here. And like I say, long term, one day maybe I'll go with the long distance stuff myself. But what's great about Alexander is he's now going to be racing young birds next year, and he's going to focus on the sprint middle. So it's a great combination. And also because of school holidays and stuff, that young bird season, it falls bang in his summer holiday. So obviously I'll help him out however he needs it, but he's going to be focusing himself on building a good sprint middle team of young birds, and he's going to be racing them. And I'm super happy with that. And I'm blown away by the amount of help. I actually have been speaking to somebody today, not about pigeons, but about German Shepherd dogs, actually. And I know his first name's Martin, but I forgot his surname. I'm just going to remind myself. Martin Murr over in Ireland. I was speaking to him about German Shepherd dogs. And he's a pigeon guy, and he won first and second national. And again, blown away. He's offered Zandy 6 birds from his first and second national winner and brother and sister, his national winner. I mean, blown away by... and he's super, super pleased. Zandy's a little bit like me in many ways. He's far more sporting than I'll ever be. He's a great golfer, and that's probably going to be his career. But when he gets something in his head, he wants to do it the best he can. And he's also, in addition to that, going to be helping me with Racing Pigeon International and the sales and the auction stuff. And he's going to be involved in the business, which I'm really, really pleased about. And Racing Pigeon International, Racing Pigeon Network. So yeah, anyway, gabbling on about that too much. Just catch up on the things, and then I'll tell you a bit more. Yeah, I used to race when I was a kid, Andrew. When I was 13 years old, I first raced in a club that's no longer around called Markfield in Leicestershire, right near to the Weller Pigeon World. And I used to race there. And my very first business was buying and selling racing pigeons. At the age of 14, I bought and sold my first birds. That was my very first business as an entrepreneur. I was back then, which is what, 20... I mean, it's scary how many years ago that was. 28 years ago, I was selling birds to Japan and all kinds of places. China wasn't really able to replace them, but I used to send birds to Japan and to America all the time. That was my very first business. So kind of gone full circle a little bit with my plans. And the sales and auction stuff isn't ready yet. I have it ready. I have actually the systems in place to be ready, but it's just not good enough how it looks and how easy it is to use. So I have one of my guys that I work with on my other stuff. He's making it a lot better to use because it has to be easy to use, and look well and work well. So I'm working on that. But again, we're going to have 2 charity auctions to start it. We're going to have the charity auction for the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, which I'll talk to you about a little bit about shortly. And we're also going to have my charity, Music is Life, which helps people with mental health and depression issues. We're going to have 2 charity auctions to do a test run and make sure. I mean, we will launch it knowing it works, but so it's not an actual commercial for a client system. We're going to do them so the pressure's off a little bit. I don't know, Joe. It's a good question. They get lost, and it's heartbreaking. Some of them get attacked by birds of prey. Some of them get scared and fly away. It's hard. It's hard to know, really, if I'm honest. So, speaking of the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, if you are a friend of mine here on Facebook, you will have probably got an invite to like the page for the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation, or as we are now calling it, the PSFF, because the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation is a bit of a mouthful, so we're going to go with PSFF. The Facebook page went live yesterday. We already have 270 people that have liked it. Thank you to all of those that have liked it already. If you haven't yet got an invite from me, you will get one, trust me, and please like it so we can get as many people knowing about that as possible. So PSFF was officially incorporated a couple of days ago as a non-profit foundation, and I've got quite a bit of work to do on it to get it ready. I've got the website, which is psffoundation.org. That's going to be aiming to get that ready for Tuesday, Wednesday. So to clarify about it, this all came about through my conversation and now friendship with Johnny McWhirter. Johnny has a good radical idea to get people to get a program run out for European Eagle Owls. To confirm, our plan is not to at all get European Eagle Owls and release them out into the wild. That is an illegal thing to do. Our plan is a 3-stage plan. Now, to clarify, with the PSFF is a non-profit organization dedicated to growing, developing, protecting, and radicalizing the sport. And when I say the sport of all pigeons, it's not just racing pigeons. Tumbler, tippler, and roller guys have as many problems as racing guys do. So it's all inclusive to everything to do with the sport of pigeons. This ultimately is going to be the vehicle to start making long and radical changes down the line. It will work hand in hand with any organization that wants to work with us, the RPRA, the IHU, the SHU, WHU, any of them. But the harsh reality, since getting back into this, is things move too slowly in a lot of these organizations. There's too much red tape, there's too much hierarchy, and the PSFF will not be like that. The PSFF has not been set up just to do the European Eagle Owl project. The European Eagle Owl project will be one of the projects that the PSFF will do. In addition, our other projects will be focusing on getting new people in, putting it in lofts into schools. And I know the RPRA are working on it, and I know Richard is working on it. Like I said, we will work hand in hand with anybody that wants to work with us. But the reality is this, that every year, pigeon flyers in the UK and Ireland raise a hell of a lot of money for charity. And I'm not saying that should stop in any way. In fact, my own charity, Music is Life, has already got 17 or 18 birds pledged to an auction. And that's nothing to do with pigeons. And the flyers out there and the breeders of these birds have been great in offering birds. So I'm not saying we should pull away from charity. What I'm saying is a portion of what we guys do for charity should be put back into our sport. because it doesn't really happen at the moment. And that's what the PSFF is going to do. So the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation will be a non-profit. There will be zero. There'll be no bullshit about people taking big salaries. Like I said last week, none of that stuff. Any of the members, they're not actually shareholders, they're not even directors of this. They're actually called members. At the moment, I'm the founding member, and more members will come on board. There's no profit in it, and we're not having people salaried doing positions. The only realistic, if this thing grows big enough, we will have as a salaried position is we have 1 or 2 admin people down the line if the thing gets big enough to where it needs them. In the meantime, there'll be no piss taking and expenses or any of that. People are expected to do this for the love of it and to bring the thing forward. And also, by the way, if anybody knows an accountant who's a pigeon flyer or is a pigeon enthusiast, they're going to be looking for an accountant to audit the books, work the book so that it's out there and people can see everything that is happening. If anybody knows an accountant that's a pigeon guy or woman, please let me know. So to clarify, the European Eagle Owl project, the goal is not to release as many eagle owls as possible and break the law. That is not the goal. The goal is to introduce a breeding program, get as many breeding pairs around as possible, then offer the young birds from those breeding pairs to flyers. If I move house, which we're planning to do, and Zandy starts racing, I will have a European eagle owl in my garden, and the plan is I will train that bird myself to look to protect my area. And that's what we're going to be offering to other people to do. That's the first phase. The second phase is to get ultimately a plethora, as it were, of this project going around the UK and Ireland. The second phase then is to, with help from some legal help that we've been offered, petition the government and the RSPB and say, we want the European eagle owl to have the same rights and privileges as the peregrine falcon. Why is it not? I'm not a legal guy, but to me, it should be reintroduced. And the long-term plan is for that to happen. To me, these birds are like guard dogs for your house. They're guard dogs for your loft. They're guard birds. It's a long-term plan. It's got to be done right. I'm talking about randomly releasing as many birds as possible. That is against the law. It is proven that there are European eagle owls in the UK and Ireland living very successfully if they're not getting shot. And it's complete hypocrisy to me for the RSPB to be protecting peregrines and not wanting European eagle owls, which have been proven to have been native of Scotland. So that's the general plan of what the European eagle owl thing is going to be. We're going to be doing a charity auction. We're going to be hitting up big name guys, and we're going to be looking to raise as much money to get as many of these breeding stations out as possible. That's the first thing. The second thing is the PSFF itself is not, like I said, it's not just about that. It's about growing, developing, protecting, and advancing the sport forward. So we're going to be looking for other projects to do. Definitely bringing new people in, new kids in if possible, into schools, and bringing anybody new in and being able to support those people to get started. Because let's face it, it's expensive to get started. So if we can support as many people to get started as possible through sponsorships and through donations via the PSFF itself, that's what we're going to be looking to do. So Ian, I don't think I didn't catch up the conversation. I don't know, mate, but I'll speak to you about it separately. Hope you're well, mate. I haven't heard from you in a while. So what I want is, what we need for the PSFF is, what else do you think we should be doing? What other programs and projects should we be running? Should we be focusing in on schools? Should we be focusing in on more excluded people? You know, the great thing about our sport is, like their last Sunday, doesn't matter who you are, what you are, where you're from, you're all welcome at that particular race. And it's the same with the sport in general. Yeah, there's some arseholes. Yeah, there's some idiots. Generally, it's a welcoming sport. And there's a great, it's like Chris Williams has experienced. with his disability. It's a great thing that saved him, and it gives him something to work with and focus on. So what we've got to be looking at is, what else should we be doing? Yeah, Andrew, you're right about liberations and race training, but one thing at a time. This is a long-term plan, long-term project. Ultimately, what's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is, through legal channels and properly done, to introduce the European Eagle Owl back into the UK. May work, may not work. We've got a lot of detractors on this project. But you know what? If nobody tries, what the hell's going to happen? Nothing. So here's the question. What else? What are the other projects that we should be looking to start through the PSFF once it's up and running? Should it be a schools project? I know the RPRA are doing that, and they're doing a really good job of it at the moment. What else should we be doing? One of the things I definitely want to do, which came up when I started all of this, is getting the sport of pigeon racing to be recognized as an official sport. That's definitely one of the things I want to be working on. But what else? I was reading, Peregrine Falcons make place for RCB, that's why I protect so much. With its funding, if a wood pigeon bought its own funds, they would protect it. I agree. Pete Berry, any Australians watching? I'm sure I have some nice Australians watching. Maybe some of my little idiots are watching. Who knows? Getting more young people into sport. Completely agree, Stephen. The 5G towers, John. Yeah, that's a valid point. Ian, didn't know about that, mate. Let's have a chat, please, tomorrow if you're around. Didn't know that you'd even been talking about it. But we're on it, so can we talk about it, please, mate? So yeah, getting the sport recognised, getting the sport pigeon racing recognised as an actual sport is definitely one of the things the PSFF is going to do, or try and do. And again, it's a long-term thing. It's not going to happen overnight. But we cannot be put off by long-term things, because only focusing on short-term stuff is not going to work long-term for what we need this to do. We have to focus on things that are going to take a long-term strategy to them. We have to. So that's something else. So I want opinions and feedback on what else projects and programs we should be looking to do via the PSFF. Right, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to end this soon because my girlfriend's due back and I haven't seen her for over a week. Gary Russell, bullshit. What do you mean, Gary? What is? Tell me what you think is bullshit, Gary. So what I'm going to be talking about next week, I'm going to be talking more about one-off races and how we can get them moved ahead even more advanced. I'm going to be talking about what's bad with the sport. I'm going to be talking about what's good and combining together and how we can move forward with that, plus a bunch more whatever else comes into my mind. They're the things I'm going to be talking about. Yeah, I mean, bringing people in is a massive thing for definite, Edward. Ingo, the upper is not doing a job, suggested the very thing to them 15 years ago and still haven't done this. In fact, in life, that they're governed by pensions. Give me all the grief you want, but it's the truth. Just give me 1 second, guys. So, okay, so yeah, well, Ian, let's speak. Okay, Gary, I'd love to know what you think is bullshit. Let me know, please. Yeah. Okay, so that's about it, guys. I'm going to go, and thank you for watching. Let me know your feedback, any more thoughts, message me direct, put a comment on this. let me know, and I will catch you very soon. Have a good weekend. Those of you are racing, good luck. May you have some luck with you, and I will catch you very, very soon. Thanks a lot.